Hey everyone, I'm Andy, Program Assistant at FRN and Resident Food Safety Expert. Thanks for joining me to learn about how you can ensure that the food that you recover is safe, healthy, and dignified. We will go over personal safety, kitchen and farm etiquette, date labels, temperature danger zones, what food is appropriate to donate, and a few other best practices. At the end of this video, please complete a short quiz that goes over the main points we cover here to make sure you are prepared to recover food. Food safety training is required of all volunteers before they go on their first recovery. If you have any questions, email us at programs@foodrecoverynetwork.org. Let's get started. The number one reason to practice proper food safety is to prevent foodborne illnesses. While many foodborne illnesses are something people can bounce back from, the CDC estimates 48 million people get sick from a foodborne illness each year. 128,000 are hospitalized and 3,000 die. The more food is handled, the higher chance of contamination. Foodborne illnesses are caused by bacteria, viruses, or parasites, which can be controlled within a healthy level if proper safety guidelines are followed throughout the entire food supply chain, from agriculture to food service. The second reason to learn food safety is to protect your personal safety. There are steps and precautions you can take to ensure you and your teammates are safe when doing recoveries and handling food. Being confident in food safety can help your recoveries go more smoothly and help to strengthen your partnership with your food donor, who you collect food from, and your partner agency, who receives the recovered food, because you'll be able to guarantee that the food you recover is safe and dignified for redistribution. You may be familiar with the Bill Emerson Good Samaritan Food Donation Act. This was a bill passed into law in 1996 that states that any food donated in good faith, thus has been determined safe by the donor and recipient thanks to food safety practices, will not incur liability on the donor should anyone get sick. Essentially, the donor is protected if the food is donated in good faith and in alignment with food safety practices. The Food Donation Improvement Act was passed in 2023 and strengthens Bill Emerson by expanding protections and clarifying guidelines for food recovery and donation. Before you go on a recovery, check in with yourself. Have you had any symptoms in the past 24 hours? Cough, difficulty breathing, fatigue, muscle or body aches, headache, sore throat, congestion, runny nose, nausea, or vomiting? If so, please find someone to replace you at the recovery. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself and others around you. Do you have any open wounds or sores? Make sure that any lesions are covered up with a clean bandage and a disposable glove if on your hand. Dressing appropriately can keep you safe in the kitchen. Wear closed-toed shoes, your hair securely tied back, hat or hairnet, and no jewelry. Finally, show off that FRN pride by wearing an FRN t-shirt, hat, or other swag you might have. This helps staff and students identify that you are there to recover food. Hand washing is no joke. Once you've checked in with your health and have all the right attire and personal protective equipment, you can arrive at the kitchen or food recovery site. As soon as you do, make sure you wash your hands for 30 seconds or more, all the way up to your elbow with warm water and soap. Then, fully dry your hands with a clean towel. You must wash your hands at the beginning of every recovery. If you touch your face, hair, clothes, bone, raw meat, raw eggs, dirty dishes, or trash, and after going to the bathroom, sneezing, coughing, eating, drinking, and when replacing gloves. This may seem like a hassle, but hand washing is one of the best ways to prevent the spread of foodborne illnesses and will help keep you safe. If you're recovering food in a kitchen, be sure to identify yourself to the kitchen staff and listen to them for instruction. General good practices in a kitchen include wearing gloves when handling food, keeping your phone away, and communication. It can feel silly, but yell "behind" when passing someone in the kitchen or "hot" when moving a container of hot food. This can prevent serious injuries and is expected of all kitchen staff, which now includes you. Make sure you're also talking to the rest of your recovery team and establishing roles to make sure you are tracking and getting everything done. You most likely won't be dealing with knives during a typical food recovery, but if you are using a knife, here are some rules to follow. When handling knives, never fully submerge a knife in the tub of water or sanitizer, so when the next person reaches their hand in, they don't accidentally grab the blade. If you're walking with a knife, hold it so it's pointed down to the ground with your arm glued to your side. Absolutely no running or horseplay in the kitchen, and most importantly, be respectful of all other students, staff, and employees. If you're recovering food on a farm, also known as gleaning, or in a community garden, treat the land and crops with respect and kindness. Listen to the farmer, ask what's appropriate to harvest, and only take as much as they say to. Leaving a space better than you found it is a great way to be asked back to glean again. Ask the farmer if you can pull a few weeds or collect spoiled crops for composting while you work. And follow instructions of the farmer. Don't use their tools or machinery without their permission and proper training. In terms of personal safety, make sure you have sunscreen, a hat, and access to fresh drinking water. Wearing long sleeves and pants is a good idea to prevent scrapes and bug bites while gleaning. Hats or hairnets and closed-toed shoes are still required, even if you're recovering food outside. It may seem tempting, but do not eat the food in the field. Always wash your hands before handling food. It's a good idea to bring hand sanitizer with you in case water and soap aren't available for frequent hand washing. Remember, you are a guest in these spaces, and you should ask permission and take cues from those whose space you are sharing. Your tractor may be recovering prepackaged food in addition to the cooked meals. Keep track of shelf life and date labels. Prepackaged meals will likely come with a sell-by, best-by, or use-by date. Each of these dates means something different. They aren't usually based on exact science or always federally regulated and can just be marketing tactics. Despite all of these conflicting standards, discretion with date labels is extremely important when donating food. Sell-by and best-by dates are labels used to indicate quality. If a food item is past this date, use reason to determine whether it's safe to consume. Shelf-stable products, high in salt or sugar, have relatively long shelf lives, as do frozen products, canned or jarred food with acidic pH levels of 4 or below. These labels indicate when the food is estimated to be at its best in terms of flavor or quality. This is not a safety date. Use by is still ambiguous, but generally regarded as the safety deadline or expiration date. Refrigerated products, meat and dairy, are likely to spoil quickly. When it comes to date labels, you personally can take liberties of eating food past the date on the package as a way of reducing food waste if it seems safe to do so. When we are donating food, however, we need to be more cautious of these dates. Do some research on state regulations or talk with your partner agency on whether or not they accept sell-by or best-by food after its date. Never donate food past its use-by date. If you're in doubt of whether or not food past its date is safe, err on the side of caution and compost or throw it away. This is important to maintain the dignity of clients you are serving and to reduce the amount of food your partner agency wastes. If the food you're recovering was packaged in bulk, each package may not have a date label. If this is the case, ask your food donor to identify the date of the product and be sure to label the lot for your partner agency. The best way to know whether or not this type of food is safe to donate is to understand temperature danger zones. As we mentioned earlier, food contains certain levels of bacteria, viruses, and parasites, and the human body is equipped to handle consuming these at low levels. However, these foodborne illnesses causing microbes multiply when the food is in the temperature danger zone, between 40 degrees and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Food that's left in this danger zone for more than 2 hours is no longer safe to consume or donate. It's also important to make sure that food does not go from piping hot to the fridge or freezer. If a pot of soup held at 160 degrees Fahrenheit is put into a fridge, the soup may only get cool enough to sit right at the temperature danger zone all night as the hot soup slowly cools. Make sure any hot food is safely cooled to 40 degrees Fahrenheit internally before refrigerating or freezing. If it's particularly hot outside and your recovery transportation does not have air conditioning, be extra cautious about the length of time your recovery takes. Never allow meat, poultry, or seafood that requires refrigeration to sit at room temperature for more than 1 hour if the air temperature is above 90 degrees Fahrenheit. While temperature danger zones sound scary, there is an easy rule of thumb to remember. If you take food out of a refrigerator or freezer, it needs to go back into a refrigerator or freezer, or heated or served within 2 hours. If you serve a hot dish, it needs to be cooled and refrigerated within 2 hours. So, let's practice. Which one is safe to recover? On the left, we have a pre-packaged food that's been left out by kitchen staff for students to take. This food was out during a 3-hour lunch period, then put back into a fridge to allow FRN staff to recover what's left. On the right side, we have a pre-cooked food. stored in a dry place under 41 degrees Fahrenheit for up to 5 days, until the FRN staff can come pick it up to deliver to your partner agency. The issue here is the temperature danger zone. The food that was left out with no temperature regulation, bacteria, viruses, and parasites that were dormant in and on the food had hours to multiply, contaminating the food. Even if it's put in the fridge after and heated up before it's reserved, it's still not okay to donate. This slide shows general shelf life information of different packaged and prepared foods. Check out the food safety resources on our website to see a full list with all of these dates that you can print and post in your recovery space or bookmark on your phone to review before you recover. The most important one to know is that a prepared dish that has been refrigerated for more than 5 days is no longer safe to donate. Knowing what you're recovering is essential in ensuring its safety. Be aware of these common food allergens: milk, egg, tree nuts, wheat, fish, shellfish, peanuts, and soybeans. Always clearly label any food that contains these allergens. It's always a good idea to have a conversation with your partner agency on how they handle food allergies and if your chapter needs to take any extra precautions. For example, if they are a peanut-free facility, communicate with your food donor that you cannot accept any donations that may contain or have been cross-contaminated with peanuts. This conversation can also be a good time to listen to the dietary needs of your partner agency. Get to know what kind of food they are most in need of and how you can work with your food donor to meet their dietary and cultural needs with your recovery donations. Having the right materials can make the recovery go smoothly and make taking safety precautions easy. When storing and transporting food, prepared food and ingredients should be stored in sealed containers that have been cleaned and sanitized and are clearly labeled with what's inside, including any allergy information, when it was made, when it expires, and how it should be stored. This can be one-time use aluminum pans, Tupperware containers, or even Ziploc plastic bags. When storing and transporting fresh produce that you pick from a farm, use a clean and dry container with no cracks or holes in the bottom. Fresh produce can mold if in an airtight container, so don't place a lid on these containers. Examples of containers good for fresh produce are wax produce boxes, large plastic storage bins, hardware store buckets. Never use biodegradable containers to transport food, as they can sog and contaminate the food they hold. Only use clean and dry wax produce boxes to carry produce, never a cardboard container. All food containers should be used exclusively for food and never tools, supplies, or anything else when not carrying the food. Other materials you'll use is a scale for weighing all the food you recover and donate. This helps your chapter keep track of how much food you recover and is important data that's used at FRN National. Make sure you are staying organized with tracking and weighing your food every recovery so you can fill out the food tracking forms available on our website. You may also use a food-grade thermometer to test temperature control of your food. Label your containers with the type of food, known allergens, when the food was made, expiration date, and storage information. Keeping yourself and your partner agency informed is a good way to keep up communication and make sure that everyone stays safe. Knowing what food is safe and acceptable to recover is important when establishing a partnership with your food donor, but also in everyday recovery operations. Know the key difference between quality and expiration dates, as we talked about, and always check for the date on packaged produce. Packaged food with packaging that has been tampered with is not safe to donate. If you recover from grocery stores, this might be a large portion of the food that they donate. Use your discretion when necessary to determine if something is safe to donate. For example, is the cardboard box full of individually wrapped snacks the part of the packaging that was damaged? Make sure none of the individual wraps have been compromised and check with your partner agency to see if they'll still accept the donation. Dented cans from falls or other mishandlings can be safe to donate, but a dent in a can is also created by a large presence of foodborne illnesses causing bacteria. Sharply dented cans should not be donated, but a bump in the lip of a can is acceptable. Prepared food that is not safe to donate includes food that has been placed out on a buffet or taken out of the kitchen to be served. Homemade foods, spoiled food, unpasteurized milk products or juices, food recovered from a power outage, and food past its shelf life. When considering what prepared food is safe to donate, keep in mind these 3 things. Was it prepared in a certified commercial kitchen? Did it spend more than 2 hours in the temperature danger zone? Does it have signs of spoilage, including being kept past its expiration date? If you don't know the answer to these questions in regards to the recovered food, err on the side of caution and do not donate to your partner agency. When gleaning or recovering fresh produce, never accept fruits that have broken skin or bruises. Never collect produce for donation that you found on the ground. You don't know how long it's been there or what it's been exposed to since falling from where it grew. Only accept fruits fresh off a tree or vine and vegetables from their beds. In addition, only recover from farms that are upfront about their safe farming practices and only wash recovered produce in potable water. Once the food is packed and the produce is harvested, the food safety precautions are still not done. Stack containers in a way that will ensure lids stay on tight and there's no cross-contamination between foods. Keep the hot foods and the cool foods separate to prevent the transfer of heat, which could lead to food spending time in that temperature danger zone. Make note of the time the food spends out of its ideal storage temperature and travel, and let your partner agency know how much time the food has remaining before it needs to be properly stored. Use a clean vehicle for transportation. Never place the food in the same location as dirty clothes, sports equipment, trash, or chemicals, and always keep the food and food containers 6 inches off of the floor. This is a hard and fast food safety rule that applies in storage and transportation to prevent critters from eating through packaged food and also transferring floor microbes to the kitchen counters. Use a cart in your recoveries to help maintain this 6 inches off the ground rule in transportation. Congratulations! You've made it to the end of our Food Recovery Network training. Let's go over important things to take away from this presentation and really store into your memory. First, the temperature danger zone is between 40 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and food maintaining this internal temperature for more than 2 hours cannot be donated. Second, check in with yourself. If you are feeling ill, don't feel bad about communicating with the rest of your team if you need coverage. Wash your hands with warm water and soap for at least 30 seconds before you start the recovery and after touching anything that is not food or a clean food container. Third, when doing recoveries, you must wear disposable gloves, a hat or hairnet, and closed-toed shoes. It's a good idea to wear an FRN shirt, button, or hat with our logo on it to identify yourself to food donors and partner agency staff. And finally, keep food containers 6 inches off the ground. Label all food containers with contents, allergens, date made, expiration date, and storage instructions. And remember, different date labels, what your partner agency and state considers acceptable, the shelf life of common foods, and the top 8 food allergens to be aware of is important information to have handy to refer to when doing recoveries. Now that you've completed the food safety training with FRN, it's time to take the quiz to prove your knowledge. This short quiz will confirm that you were trained in food safety by FRN and are clear to recover with your chapter. If you're interested in further certification in food safety, check out ServSafe, an industry standard for food safety, or Always Food Safe, a food safety training program that gives FRN members a discount. These links will be sent in the completion email after you take our food safety quiz, and neither of these trainings are required by FRN. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to us at FRN National.